top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of cover prices data. That's right. We are dealing with data here, people. Facts and figures, not speculation. Like, well, I think this one's pretty hot. We're going to put it in the top 10 right now. We take cover prices, top 10 hottest comics of the week, which they share on a Monday. Our live show is on a Friday. We go through the top 10 hottest comics, and Chris normally picks his 3 most interesting picks off of that list. But this week, we are approaching this a little bit different. Picky's out.
Yep.
Picky's out. All right. But right now, I'm just going to read off. Comic Man Andy, if it's cool with you, I'm going to read off what the top 10 hottest comic books are of the week. You ready?
Are you sure you want to share this? Are you sure you want to spread that love?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm gonna hold off for a second. Think about it. Chris has somewhere to be anyways right now. I'm not gonna say what. I'm not gonna say what. But no, you know what? No, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Here we go. Top 10 hottest comics of the week. Right now, you got at number 10, Amazing Spider-Man number 360, the second cameo of Carnage. I'm wondering why Carnage is so hot right now. I have no idea. At number 9, we have Ghost Rider number 28, the first appearance of the Midnight Suns. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Hopefully, we're going to see some little MCU love with the Midnight Suns coming up. Number 8, we have Venom Lethal Protector number 4, the first appearance of Scream, Agony, Lasher, Phage, and Riot. I do believe Riot is confirmed for Venom Let There Be Carnage, the sequel to Venom. Number 7, we have G.I. Joe number 281, the first appearance of Sherlock. This is a brand new book, brand new character, and people are excited about her. Number 6, we have Captain America number 352, the first appearance of the Supreme Soviets. This is based off of David Harbour's comments about the Black Widow film. So this is why this is hot. Number 5, we have America Chavez, Made in the USA. Number 3, the first appearance of Catalina Chavez, America's sister. At number 4, we have Ultraman number 1, the first appearance of Ultraman in comics. There is news that there will be an animated series on Netflix. At number 3, we have the Ultraman number 1 Virgin variant. At number 2, we have Spider-Man Unlimited, the first appearance of Shriek. And at number 1, we have Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, Caligula's Cafe, our favorite publisher, Bad Idea. All right, Chris. We got some stuff to talk about. We have some stuff.
Yes.
Normally, it's the 3 most interesting picks off of this list. But we're not going that route this week, are we?
Yeah, no, I really had to address this list differently. Before I get into really what I want to talk about, I got to give love to Bad Idea with the number 1 book on this list. I could use this whole segment to just talk about that book, but I'm not. But look, Bad Idea is doing things, and I'll probably do a video on my channel in the near future just talking about Bad Idea to really dive even further into what they're doing. There's haters out there, there's people that don't understand it, but they are on a roll. Big shout out to Bad Idea. But
I just want to say Planet Arizona was 4 for 10 out of that list. I see that's the best I see out of all of you. You know what? This could be fun if you guys let us know how many you have out of that list.
Yep.
Keep it going. But that's good to know. All right. Chris, what do you got?
All right, guys. So I had to theme this list out. We had really 90s goodness all throughout this list. All right. There was really 7 books that were 90s because you had Ultraman, the Harvey comic Ultraman, which had a high raw of $60 for a 90s book. And I'm going to talk about the 5 other ones that are all Marvel. All right. Because I want to really focus on the fact that it is a myth to sit here and say 90s comics aren't valuable. So let's get into the other 5. We had Ultraman, $60 high value. Let's get into the 5 Marvel books. All right. Amazing Spider-Man 360, second cameo of Carnage, right? This came out in 1992. High sale CGC, 9.8, $400. $400, 1992. All right, next up.
Hold on.
Yes.
I want Comic Man Andy's thoughts on this. Andy, what are you thinking about these 90s books?
I feel like I've got a few short boxes over here that have been collecting dust because 360 is a great pick, along with when's 344 going to show up on there too?
Mm-hmm. That's first. What's his face? Cletus, yeah, with Cardiac on the cover. Yeah,
yep.
Absolutely. All right, Chris. Moving on though.
All right. So, Ghost Rider 28, first appearance of Midnight Suns, 1992. Obviously, there's I call them baseless rumors that Marvel is in development of a Midnight Suns film. There's nothing there yet, but hey, people like to guess. CGC 9.8, $150. Again, another 1992 book. Next up, Captain America, $352. This is a 1989 book, but look, close enough, right? I'm going to put it in the same category. This is the first appearance of Supreme Soviets in Sputnik. David Arbor, who's starring in the Black Widow film, tweeted mentioning Sputnik being in the film last week. So this got some hype around this. $50 high raw sale, $50. All right. Next up, Venom, Lethal Protector, number 4, first appearance of Scream, Agony, Lasher, Phage, Riot. This book came out in 1993. A high sale, CGC 9.8, $250. That's right. And then the big cookie. I should have shown mine off. I got one signed by Ron Lynn. Spider-Man Unlimited number 1, the first appearance of Shriek. This book came out in 1993. High sale, CGC 9.8, $450.
Ooh.
Get this. A high 9.8 CGC in February, $110. That's 4 times the value that it was worth in February.
And be on the lookout for those newsstand variants of this too.
Yep. So, okay, so let's talk about these books. What do all these books have in common, including Ultraman? Well, there's speculation and rumor around them surrounding film, live action properties, and so forth. You got a lot of these books, obviously Amazing Spider-Man 360, Venom, Lethal Protector, and Spider-Man Unlimited, all because of the Venom film coming out, Venom 2. And then, the Midnight Suns, there's rumor, about them possibly showing up. And then, you get a tweet from an actor in a film that says, oh, this character is going to show up. You get Captain America 352 blown up. Now, people may sit here and argue, oh, well, they're just, that's all it is anymore. It's people that don't even read comics. They just, linger on these announcements for movies, and then they just want to go buy them and flip them, and they don't even care about it. It's all movie spec. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. First off, you're wrong. People that enjoy the movies still read comics, many of them. Can't speak for all of them. But the bottom line is it doesn't matter. These books are being driven up in value organically by basic supply and demand. And yes, supply obviously it correlates directly with demand. And you would think that these books in the 90s, because of how they were printed, there's this excess supply of them out there. But I've said it before. I said it in this segment many times. I'm going to say it again. Supply does not equate to print run. Supply specifically equates to the available amount of the product on the market at any given time. And right now, what's happening is people are hearing about these books, hearing about these characters, looking for the books, and the demand is exceeding supply, and the supply just cannot keep up. It can't. So these books then gain value. Now, you ask, what does that mean long term? What does that mean long term? Well, people see them getting hot. So you might have somebody like Andy who said, oh, I got a bunch of those back there collecting dust, right? So maybe somebody in that same situation would say, oh, these books are getting hot. I'm going to go sell mine then, right? So if you get enough of these people, because there are a lot out there still, maybe a lot of these people might put them on the market and supply starts increasing. Demand might not increase. Maybe demand starts going down. And then what's going to happen? The books are going to cool off. Can this happen? Well, there's ebb and flow almost with any kind of comic book that's on a market, any kind of collectible, any kind of investment that's on a market. You're always going to see supply and demand fluctuate. All right. The bottom line, though, that's proving my point here is that regardless of the fact, comic books have value no matter what era. And the farther we get away from the 90s, the older these books are going to become, the more people are going to be holding on to these books in their personal collections. Just like right now, you have an era of folks that held on to their Silver Age books that are unfortunately passing away or whatnot. And you're finding more and more Silver Age books in estate sales and in collections and whatnot because they're passing away and they held on to them. So going over for the next 30 years, you're going to have more and more people that are going to be holding on to 90s books, and we're not dying off anytime soon. We're not. I'm sorry. What?
Don't apologize. Please don't apologize.
We're even, I'm hoping that even, folks pushing 60 and whatnot, so I have some good, a couple decades left here on earth. Bless them in long life. But look, the mid-range or the main age group of those people that are collecting comics, especially comics from the 80s and 90s, are going to be between 30 and 50 years old. And I see it more than ever. I look, I have thousands of subscribers. I get thousands of comments on my video, and I read each and every one of them. I have my ear to the streets all the time. I'm in Facebook forums. I'm reading forums. I'm monitoring the hobby and the community. More and more people, young and old, but especially middle-aged, 30 to 50, are coming back into this hobby and say, hey, man, you know what? I've been out of the hobby for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and this is my first time getting back into it. What should I buy? Oh, 90s nostalgia. Let me buy that. Oh, wow. That book's worth something right now. I can send this to CGC and get a 9.8. Okay. Gambit's a thing. I'm going to send this to CGC and it's going to be worth like $350. Okay. How about it? I'm telling you guys, 90s books right now, there's going to be ebb and flow with anything that has speculation. So let's look at some of these books that correlate with the Venom movie. The Venom movie is going to come out. I hope it's a success. It's going to be released, then it's going to be out of theaters. And maybe those books trend downward a little bit because the interest, subsides. But what do I talk about? Threshold. They're not going to be what they were worth before. They're going to hit a threshold. All right. And then through time, slowly but surely, long term, they're going to continue to slowly increase value, because I guarantee you this. I'm going to sum up my statement here. Regardless or contrary to popular belief, nobody collects comics anymore. It's only speculators or people don't read comics and all this stuff. Speculators are driving up the market. More and more people are holding on to their books. It's that simple. More and more people are holding on to their books, and they're doing it with 90s books as well. And I tell you, when a book does get hot, it's not speculators that are out there buying them at peak prices. It's collectors that are demanding them. And collectors don't necessarily flip for the short term. At least the majority of them. They hold their books. So I would like to finish my rant here by saying this. Look for these books as a whole, late 80s, early 90s books, to continue to gain attention, to continue to increase in demand, and to continue to increase in value. And I'm not sitting here trying to feed you lies and feed you a pipe dream of thinking that every book that came out, around that time is going to be valuable. Because guys, it's not the case. It's not the case. But there is a market there, and that market is not going away anytime soon.
I gotta add to this. Chris,
we expect
fired.
You to add to this. That's what I'm saying. I just want to preface that. We expect you. Go ahead.
Yes, you're really firing me up, and I really gotta add to this, man. I want to take and ask each and every one of the people watching right now to think about this. That one book that you're after, those two books that you're after, and you're looking for that ebb and you're looking for that flow. It's gonna be there. But I want you to stop, and I want you to think big picture. Generationally, comic books have the exact same ebb and flow. Silver Age, Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Copper. You look for those ebbs and flows in those single and double issue books, the stuff that you're looking to collect as a collector. And when you want to use speculation to build your collection, generationally, there is an ebb and flow, just like Chris talks about. There's a generational ebb and flow. Use that to build your comic book collection as efficiently as possible as a speculator. You can use comic book speculation to build your collection. You don't have to flip books. You don't have to be a speculator and flip books. You can buy and you can hold, and you can use speculation in that aspect and that value. You're right, Chris. The ebb and that flow of that book, that will be there. The very, very, very few books are outliers of that ebb and flow. Most books have that ebb and flow. Almost all of them do. Very, very few don't. But you can use that ebb and flow in the bigger picture of things and look at those generational aspects. Less than 3 years ago, people were buying up 80s and 90s books and being told, well, that's not a smart move. And it's like, I'm buying what I love so that I'll love what I'll buy. And I bought up all those 90s X-Men keys of minor characters, Bishop, you name it. Then
Omega Red.
Omega Red, they're starting to catch traction. I use speculation in the tools that everybody talks about to build my collection. And there are generational ebbs and flows. This isn't a phenomenon. This isn't just this is economics. I mean, this is how it works. I mean, the vernacular escapes me, but Chris has really got me fired up because this is how I've been operating as a collector for quite a long while now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Jeff, you want to?
I mean, yeah, again, if you are looking to build up your collection, you should approach it as a strategy, just like Andy was saying, ebbs and flows. And the time to buy an Omega Red X-Men #4 was not now, where it's going, that's a hot book. It was when, you wanted that back in the day in your collection, and you could easily find those in dollar bin books. So again, there's never the perfect moment to kind of go after the book you want to go after. But if you do study the market, if you do study how these things work, if you do study the outside factors that manipulates the wrong term, but that affect the market and the cost of these books, that's speculation. And that's playing the market as well. Speculation isn't always about flipping books. Speculation is figuring out the right time to get that. Captain Marvel, for example, Chris, that's one of your fresh gets right there. Now's the time to buy Captain Marvel if you want that in your collection. It's not going to be, a year down the road where you're always already seeing images from the Marvels, the next Captain Marvel film. So it's knowing how to approach these collections and how to approach go after the ones you want and when the time is right. So, it's amazing to see that these 90s books are kind of going the way that they are. And I just saw a message here. I just saw a comment here from Bottom Tier Collectors. Death of Superman and Batman 497 will never be worth $100. We don't know. We don't know. If you would have asked, me 3 years ago if any of the top, the first 10 issues of Jim Lee's X-Men run would be worth something, I would say no. But even the number ones are going for something right now.
Yeah. So Jim Lee's X-Men #1, the highest printed book ever. A 9.8 CGC in that book is already going for over $100. So there you go. And maybe you're not a believer of CGC. That doesn't count. They're just paying for plastic. Whatever the case may be, that's the market. It's the market. Never say never. I think who said that? Who made that comment?
That is the Bearded One's new alias. Bottom Tier Collector.
Oh, that's the Bearded One? Oh, yeah. Bearded One.
I'm going
to... All right, more beards in the house. Okay, Bottom Tier, Bearded One. I think, if I not to put words in his mouth, but I think I can take his sentiment and kind of speak to it and say, well, Superman 75 is never going to be even an ASM 300, let alone a Hulk 181 or an Amazing Spider-Man #1, right? We could say that. It's never going to be something like that. But you can't, never say never. You never know how the demand for these books. And yes, print run is a factor. You have to look at print run. And we know that Death of Superman 75 was another one of those high, in the millions print run. So it's a factor. But still, we could be sitting here 50 years from now and something happens where the demand for that book is just like everyone wants it, right? And then who knows what happens in 50 years? Maybe Superman becomes, Warner Brothers totally screws the DC so bad, and everyone hates Superman. Superman's whack. Miles Morales. Punchline, new characters. We're old, we're in our 80s, and we're like, oh, those new young kids and those new characters. And, all the kids these days are grown-ups and they got good jobs. They're making money and they're spending bank on comic books, and they don't give a damn about comic books. So when we died and gave them our collection and we gave them our 10, 20 copies of Superman 75, they were like, I don't give a damn about this. And they threw it away. You never know. And then maybe a couple decades after that, something happens and Superman's popular again. And then that next generation, Superman died like 60 years ago. He died in a comic book. I want that one. And then the demand starts increasing. Who knows where the copies are? Bottom line is you never know. But perspective is perspective. When I told people, 4 years ago now, when I brought up the fair market value of an ASM 300 and a Spider-Man #1, not volume 2 from 98 or volume 3 from 2012 or volume 4 from 2004. No, Spider-Man #1 from 1963. Did it come out in 62? I know Amazing Fantasy was 62. When I told you that an Amazing Spider-Man 300 was a better investment than Spider-Man #1, dude, I had so many people laughing at me, calling me names. I remember a good old friend of the channel. What's his name? Down in Hawaii, the Doom 143. Big shout out to Doom 143. He even came in my comments. He was like, "Yo, love you, man, but you're crazy." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not."
You did the math. I mean,
I did the math. I did the math. Even then, because this is what I said. I said, look, we get so fixated on dollar amount. We can't be fixated on a dollar amount. We have to understand percentages. When you talk about a return on your investment, you have to understand percentages. So even 4 years ago, right, when an Amazing Spider-Man 9.8 CGC was probably going for $200, your Amazing Spider-Man #1 in like a, like a 7.5 or something like that was going for like, what did I say? I think I forget off the top of my head, but I don't know. It might've been like 20,000 or something like that. It was a lot of money. So the first thing that you got to understand is, if we're looking at investments, how many people have 10, 15, 20, $30,000 in their pocket all at once? Probably not a lot of us. Maybe we can go to the bank, get out a loan. Maybe we can sell a car, or I don't know, I know I don't. So, but if you have $200 for an Amazing Spider-Man 300, maybe you have more than 200. Maybe you have 2,000. Maybe you could buy 10 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300. But I said, let's just hypothetically imagine that we had the amount of money for fair market value for you to buy that Amazing Spider-Man #1. Would you buy that book, or would you buy, what was it, like 320 copies or 420 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300? Everyone was like, "You're crazy. I'm not buying 400 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300. Hell no, da-da-da-da-da." So what did I do? I came back in 2020 before COVID hit, and Jeff, we did it on our show. I think it was right when COVID hit. We came on the show, and I think the fair market value of that book was not even half of what it's at right now. Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Yeah.
And what was the profit margin? If you invested in 2017, if you invested your X amount of money into one Amazing Spider-Man #1 or 400 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300, your profit margin differential, I think you would have only gained like 8,000 in profit off of the Amazing Spider-Man #1, but I think it was like 80,000 in profit off of the Amazing Spider-Man 300s. And if we did it now, no lie, 420 copies of your profit margin might be bigger than 6 figures. You might be looking at $1 million profit margin. And I'm just shooting that from my head. I mean, it's increased that much. Think about it. If you spent $200 times 400, that's what, 80,000, right? What's the 9.8 going for right now? 5 G's?
5 or 6?
Yeah. Times that by 5,000 times 400 is add up the zeros. 5,000 books.
I can't do math on a Friday.
$5,000 fair market value at 400 books. That's $2 million.
We're saying, let's just say 5,000 times 400. Yeah, that's $2 million.
$2 million.
Done.
And don't tell me, I don't want to hear those people saying, how are you gonna sell 400 copies that makes don't tell me, because if a 9.8 ASM 300 is going on eBay or going in a claim sale, it's sold.
Gone.
I want to hear it.
So there's two things. There's two things to bring up about this. There's two caveats to think about this as collectors when we talk about this discussion. Is we as collectors need to take our quote unquote thoughts or ideas about the phrase print run, and we need to throw that right out into the garbage, because all of these books that for the last 20 years people have been talking about the print run being an issue, it's not really as much of an issue when you talk about the 9.8s, 9.6s, 9.4s. When you look for high grade books, you could have 2 million of a book printed. Good luck finding newsstand copies in 9.8 for some of these books, or direct editions, whatever your flavor is. And then the second caveat to this is, at the end of the day, and I've seen some comments about this in the chat here tonight, is buy what you love at the end of the day, and you'll love what you buy wholeheartedly, nonstop. Doesn't matter if it's $1 book and still a $1 book at the end, or if the things pay off. If you forever stay true to yourself and you always buy what you love, you'll never go wrong, ever. Not one time, ever.
Yep. That's fact right there. We say that a lot. And, Chris, you've talked about this to no end. Print run does not equal supply. It also doesn't equal demand. So all well said here. By the way, we just have to have a nice bookend. That is the top 10 hottest comics of the week. That is well played right there by everybody.